Good morning. Good morning to the replay viewers. Good morning to everybody joining in really quick here. Hey, everybody. There's a lot of, good morning. I had a hard time getting going this morning. Good morning. I was like, I can't wake up. Good morning. These 2-day-a-week things just, I kick my butt. There's construction noise in the background because Heath is welding, and so I apologize for that. I was going to try and wait till it was done, but I don't think it's going to be done for a while. And excuse me, I want to go ahead and get going. I'll be glad when Sarah's job goes back to my daycare, with the twins being once a week instead of twice a week. Twice a week killed just... Can't handle it. So today is Course in Miracles Day. Okay, good. Yeah, he's welding some... My legs are really short. And when we go somewhere on the four-wheeler, the buddy pegs, the back set of pegs are just enough too low that I don't really feel secure. So he's welding some new pegs on top of those pegs to bring the height up. Which I'm grateful for, but it is really noisy. So I also today need a recommendation for, I use gel pens all the time. These, my favorite pens, blue or black, but I got my new Desire Map planner and the pages they're nice. It's a great planner. It's huge. But the pages are a little bit slippery, glossy, maybe. Not a lot, but enough that the gel pen, I think, is going to smear. So, who's got recommendations for a regular ink pen? I used to use a Zebra F something. A Zebra F1. I don't know. It was a Zebra pen. But I got to where I didn't really like the Zebra pens that much. So, who uses a regular ink pen and can give me a recommendation for this? The Zebra? I think I want to go, there was a Zebra pen that I really liked. I want to say it was the F301. And then I got to using a different kind of Zebra pen that I didn't like. So I think I'll go back and see if I can find some. I think it was the F301 that I liked. The Zebra pen has a nice ink and that I can write on glossy pages. This is critical stuff, y'all. Getting the right pen for the right book is important. Today is Course in Miracles Day. Hello, Cindy. Me too. I'm a total pen snob. Sometimes, if I don't have the right pen, I just don't want to write. A Course in Miracles. Good morning. Okay, so today's lesson is 3. Let's see. Yeah, what's the point? If you don't have the right pen, it's not worth the effort. Let's see. They're all good on this page. So let's just pick 346. If you're following along in the workbook, we're in the workbook for students, lesson 346, and it starts with, "Today the peace of God envelops me, and I forget all things except His love." So today the peace of Source, the peace of love, envelops me, and I only remember love. I only feel love. Is another way to say that. So I wake today with miracles correcting my perception of all things, because that's all we can do, is change our perception of them. And perceptions open the way for miracles. So begins the day I share with you, as I will share eternity, for time has stepped aside today. I do not seek the things of time, and so I will not look upon them. What I seek today transcends all laws of time and things perceived in time. Let me stop there. A lot of the things we worry about you can ask yourself, if you're really hooked on something, is this going to matter in 5 years? Most of the time, no. most of the time we're chewing on some kind of bone that in 5 years isn't going to matter anyway, so you might as well just go ahead and drop it. A bug. I would forget all things except your love. I would abide in you and know no laws except your law of love. And I would find the peace which you created, forgetting all the foolish toys I made as I behold your glory and my own. Our toys are fun, but they are just toys. They don't last. They're not timeless. They don't satisfy us at the deepest level, like connection to love does. And when the evening comes today, we will remember nothing but the peace. For we will learn today what peace is ours when we forget all things except love. Easier said than done on some days. Sundays I think are a little easier because they're not, it's giving me a headache. Sundays I think are easier because you're not as likely to do the weekday routine of listening to the news and getting stirred up about politics. Reporting is a little bit less on Sundays. So Sundays are a good day to take a media break, to step back and just read something inspiring, or just journal, or just watch mindless TV. Is anyone watching, or has anyone watched The Man in the High Castle? The acting's not so great, but the story's good. It posits the theory that we lost the war, so the U.S. is 3/4 owned by Nazi Germany and the rest is owned by Japan. It's a pretty interesting story. And you watch that kind of stuff and just kind of tune out for a while. Just let everything go. Just be entertained. It's a series. It's on Amazon. Don't know if it's on Netflix. It's based on a book by Philip K. Dick. Yeah, I like it. I'm almost done with it, unfortunately. But choosing a TV binge is a perfectly valid way to let go if you're tired from thinking too much. Sometimes even on this stuff we can overdo it. We can get to thinking too much. We can involve our mind too much. And a few hours of mindless television can fix it right up. I like to turn on stuff like that when I clean, because I don't really enjoy cleaning house. Today the peace envelops me and I forget all things except love. I really liked the thing we had yesterday where it said if you can't do anything else, just go to the center of the circle and let all things take care of themselves. Jane the Virgin, I haven't watched that. But here's what to do when things suck. I put this in the Perry group, and I think most of you are in that group. But if you're not in that group, screenshot this. It's a little sheet of instructions. Sorry, I have a tremor in my thumb. I hope that's not making that weird. Can you guys screenshot that, or is it too big? What to do when things suck. When you're feeling far from your soul zone and something shitty is happening, fully accept it. I know, believe me, I know. This could sound naively flaky and downright impossible. It usually is, and yet the counsel is at the heart of most Eastern mysticism. Don't deny what's real, face it. Don't resist the moment, merge into it so that you can fully experience the truth of what's happening. And divinely enough, if you can be with the pain or negativity rather than pushing it away, it tends to dissolve faster so that you can move on. And I'm going to say it absolutely does dissolve faster. It may intensify at first, but I've never yet had an experience with myself or with any of the hundreds and hundreds of people I've worked with where it didn't dissolve faster than hanging on to it for days and days and days. But it's not easy. We're not trained to turn around and face the pain. When you're not feeling the way you want, you can say this: I'm really looking forward to feeling whatever. Even if you're totally steamed or really discouraged, just uttering positive future focus words can create a shift. I really like that. I feel physically just worn out today. We think it's too important to let go. Right. We feel some responsibility for solving whatever problems of the world we're worried about. So today I'm saying I'm really looking forward to feeling more energy. Because when I'm physically tired, I can sink into mental tired. And I don't want to do that. I'm just physically tired. I don't need to let that color what's going on in my mind. First, you need to look to your negative feelings in the face out of respect. It's not productive to go straight from the sucky circumstance and mindlessly into positive thoughts. Feel how much it sucks, then choose a brighter thought form. That gets left out of so many systems. You have to face the negative first. If you just push it to the side and you're Pollyanna and you gloss things over, that's ridiculous. It actually creates more pain for you in the long run. So Esther Hicks has an analogy of that. Yeah, definitely. My motivation goes down when I'm physically tired. So I can't, not today, but in the past when I'm physically tired, I just lose all motivation to be disciplined in my head. So Esther Hicks calls this, you're driving a car and the gas tank needle is going down toward empty. And you are approaching empty, and instead of stopping to get gas, you just stick a Post-it note with a smiley face over it. That's what she calls slapping positive thoughts on negative situations that need to be dealt with first. You have to put gas in the car. You can't just slap a happy smiley face sticker over the gas gauge and think that that's going to work. I like how she put that. And that's the same thing as not facing your negative and just thinking that you're going to go from feeling really bad to feeling super ecstatic within a few seconds. It's a process. It's a stage of slowly coming up. You can also use this phrase in almost any bind. I'm clear that I want to feel fill in the blank. It's incredibly grounding, and it also works well when conveying to other people what you want from a situation, especially in an intimate relationship. Stating how you want to feel helps you steer clear of criticism and complaining about yourself or other people. We've been invaded by gnats. So, in the moment, I'm feeling whatever. I can say that I am clear that I want to feel connected. I am clear that I want to feel in my own power. I want to feel the source of my own power. Even when I don't feel that way in the moment, that feels better to me than a mantra. Not a mantra, an affirmation. Affirmations that say, I'm anti-affirmation. The ones that say, I am positive, or I am, whatever, the I am affirmation type things, I don't like them because it doesn't help me to say that I am that, because my mind immediately says, no, you're fucking not. You absolutely are not that. So, but if I say I'm clear that I want to feel that, then I can move in that direction. I don't like them. Yeah, Nina, I really don't. To me, it's that happy face Post-it note on the gas tank. It doesn't feel right. I absolutely don't feel that way. I feel like I'm lying to myself. And so I get around it by saying I choose to feel. Sometimes I do that. Or sometimes I say, wouldn't it be nice if I felt more energetic? Wouldn't it be nice if I felt more abundant? Wouldn't it be nice? It kind of shifts me in that direction. And I like this one too that says, I'm clear that I want to feel. I'm clear that I want to feel more energy. I'm clear that I will want to feel my way toward a solution to support my body in this physically demanding time that it's not used to. I could probably drink some more water. there's things that I could probably do to make the Thursday through Saturday time frame a little easier. Well, actually Sunday, because I'm always wiped out on Sunday. But part of it's outside of our control, and I tell myself a lot, it's temporary. The babies are not going to need this much care forever, and Sarah's schedule will eventually change. They're moving forward and buying a house that's closer, so it's just temporary. That's similar to the statement above where it says, I'm really looking forward to feeling. Sarah works for Frito-Lay, so she delivers chips to convenience stores and grocery stores and Sam's Club and Walmart, stuff like that. She's the chip lady. All the Frito-Lay products. She used to work at a convenience store called Racetrack, which is like 7-Eleven But we really didn't want her to continue doing that. The rate of robbery and people getting shot in convenience stores is just, you can't, if your number's up, death is coming for you, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But I really do feel like you can minimize your chances of exposure to a armed robbery if you are not working the night shift at a racetrack. Anyway, I'm clear that I want to feel. I'm really looking forward to feeling. Can start you up that emotional scale. When things don't go the way you want them to, you can say to yourself, well, at least I'm even clearer about how I want to feel now. Or perhaps all you can eke out is maybe I'll be grateful for this someday. That's a step in the right direction. Yeah, let's not make it too easy for death. Let's leave a trail of confusing breadcrumbs. Sometimes all you can say is, someday this will go in the file of things that we laugh about later. A friend of mine and I, when I used to backpack in Colorado, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. If you're packing everything in, then you have to pack very carefully and as lightly as possible. So my pack could weigh 75, 80 pounds. And at the time I weighed 275. So I had my own weight plus 75 or so pounds of my pack. So I had to be careful. Well, you have to be careful anyway because you just don't want to carry all that much on your back. So we went through all that, got our packs, got her dogs, drove the 2 hours to get to the wilderness, and we were all set, and we were heading up the trail, and 3 creepy guys came past us and said, "Have you seen a bear?" And we were like, "No. We have not seen a bear. If we had seen a bear, I don't think we'd look as calm as we do right now." They had rifles and everything, which is not, that's not out of the ordinary at all. But they were weird, and they said there was a bear in the area that had been red tagged. A red tagged bear is a bear that has behavioral problems, and it's been tagged that if you see it, you can shoot it. It's kind of sad. But we kept going a little off kilter, and then we kept going. But we felt about, maybe another half mile or so, we felt all the hair on the back of our necks and our arms stand up. I don't know if I would say brave exactly. She was experiencing it, I was experiencing, but I wasn't saying anything to her, and she wasn't saying anything to me. We keep going, and I am getting more and more uncomfortable, and I'm feeling like I'm being watched from the left side, like an animal, kind of watching. There's mountain lions and bears and all kinds of stuff. So I finally say, Kelly, I don't feel so good. Like, the hair on my arms is standing up. I feel something in my stomach, and I feel like we're being watched, and I don't think we should keep going. And she said, "Oh my God, I'm feeling the same way. Let's turn around. Let's get the hell out of here." So that was one of those things where you're like, the whole weekend is ruined. We actually drove to Steamboat Springs and still ended up having a good time, but it wasn't what we wanted. So sometimes in bad situations, you just have to say, we were both pretty pissed off. So it's like, this will go in the file of things we'll laugh about later. And we can laugh about it now, but It wasn't funny at the time. It was scary and seriously aggravating because that wasn't the weekend we had planned. Steamboat Springs is a mountain resort town, so it's really expensive. And we weren't planning on spending a lot of money. And we had 3 dogs with us, for Christ's sake. So we had to get a hotel room with 3 dogs. That was a pain. But if that's all you can do, yeah, it weirded me out. You have to pay attention to your instincts when you're out by yourself too. You have to listen to that stuff. The idea of it, it's hard work. It's very rewarding, but it's challenging. You'll learn a lot about yourself if you go hiking and camping in the wilderness. Too much wild nature freaks you out. Yeah. Well, you can ask my mom. When I leave here at 5 a.m. and it's dark and it's creepy. And then coming back, Sarah was late, Morgan was late. So it was 11 o'clock before I got home, and it's a new moon, so it's pitch black. So, I've been out by myself a lot. Yeah. But I still get creeped out, so I keep my mom on the phone until I get home. Because I want somebody on the line if Sasquatch gets me. It could happen. I mean, really. He could reach right in the Subaru when I'm checking the mail and get me. It's not that you're never scared out there. When I went backpacking by myself and I went to the yurts and stayed by myself for days, several days at a time, it's not that you aren't scared. I think you'd be crazy not to be scared. You need to be highly aware of your environment. That's why deer are twitchy. They're prey animals. They're always looking around. And you need to always be looking around. Well, you could tell people what happened to me. Well, I think the Sasquatch got her. I had her on the phone. We were talking about Martha Beck, and then all of a sudden, gone. I think it was the Sasquatch. At least they're being into the story. Nobody likes it when somebody disappears with we don't know what happened. But you learn to not let fear stop you, I guess, is what the biggest thing that I learned from it. You get scared, and you don't go out after dark if you can help it. Yeah, I didn't just run off to Canada or the Pacific Northwest, which is probably where you'd want to look for me if I disappear. Today, the peace of God envelops me. Okay, I'm forgetting. I'm reading you all this other stuff, and I'm forgetting about our second book. My apologies. The Law of Divine Compensation. Let's read a little bit from it. It's a really interesting book. I like how she puts this stuff in relation to generating resources. So we stopped at the point in chapter... Oh my gosh, I wish they would put the chapters. Chapter 4. Page 35. We stopped where, as long as we think we're separate from the rest of the universe, we're bound to compare ourselves to others. Now, in the Course in Miracles, there's a whole section on what's called special relationships. The Course in Miracles teaches us that all of us are special and none of us are special. So there's not a single one of us that is above or below anyone else. The only thing that can put you above or below anybody else is comparison of social status or physical status or some sort of illusion, some sort of piece of the dream that you can compare to somebody else's dream and make yourself feel horrible. When we see each other, when we see through the madness and see the soul behind it, we're all the same and we can't compare. I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. I'm not better than the gun-packing redneck. I still want to call him a lunatic. I'm not better than that person. Because we're all just acting out our pieces of the dream. No one has more or less capacity than anyone else to be used as a conduit for the genius that pours forth constantly from the mind of God. People say there will always be someone faster, and there will. There is, if you're looking at material reality. That's true. Yeah. Physically, I'm not going to outrun an athletic runner type person. Even when I did do a lot of running, I was still a slow runner. I'm short, I'm stocky, I'm kind of built like a wrestler. Even when I am at my appropriate weight, I'm just beefy. So I'm never going to be a sprinter. Someone's always going to be able to outrun me, but that's the physical reality. So we can compare different aspects of our physical realities, and there's always going to be someone better. But when we're looking at potential, when we're looking at our souls, I can be used as a voice for God in the world, so can you. Sometimes lunatic people spout out some really pure things. We were talking about access consciousness the other day, and I really dislike one of the founders of that. When they're disappointed, maybe with children, it's appropriate to talk about both. Different bodies do different things, and yet there is also this other part of us that's completely limited. It might be an opportunity to talk about the parts of ourselves that are unlimited. There's our physical reality, which has limits and boundaries on it. And then there's our non-physical reality, which is not limited at all. And so if you have a kid who's run a race that lost, you can help them bring their focus to, do you want to feel defeated, or would you rather feel our bodies are capable of doing a lot more than we think. So you can use those things that we just talked about when things suck. You can use those with kids. You can say, how would you rather feel about this? Would you rather join in the happiness that your friend is experiencing right now because they won? Would you rather use this as inspiration to maybe train harder or in a different way to see what happens at the next race? Understanding that physical races are always based on physical limits. You can help them you can introduce visualization techniques that sports players use. Visualization. That's a pretty rich opportunity to introduce a lot of conversation. And you can also use it as an opportunity to say, that must feel really crappy. Looks like you're disappointed. How are you feeling? What word would you put on that feeling that you've got right now? And let's talk about it. And then you help them face their negative emotion, and then you say, okay, how do you want to feel now? Now that we've talked about all this, where do you want to go now? How do you want to feel next? Does that make sense? We don't give our kids enough credit. I love watching the twins express negative emotion and frustration because it's so 100% full force. I used to like Morgan, watching Morgan express emotion too when she was little. It's just a blast. It is a blast of anger. It's a blast of frustration. It's a gale force wind of grief. And they throw their head back and they open their mouth wide and they just howl. And you sit there next to them and pat their little backs, and it's gone. Then they're back smiling again. They're on to the next thing. If we could remember to do that same thing, just throw your head back and howl when you're frustrated or sad, it would go through so much quicker. And it's all in their body too. They're thrashing around. I mean, they're not locked up and crying. They're all over the place. So it's moving out of their bodies. Yeah, so much in the moment, just blasting out. That's the way to do it. Maybe you can't do that at your desk at work, but you can go home and do it. Or you can go in the bathroom and try to do some of it. Or you can go scream in your car, not in the parking lot. Drive somewhere else. Let's see. Oh, so no one has... Yeah, and then they go to sleep. They reset. They go to sleep and they reboot their system. All of us carry the mark of God, yet we carry that mark as one. No one has any more or less capacity than anyone else to be used as a conduit for the genius that pours forth constantly from the mind of God. This genius pours into us as one, but is accepted by us separately. So if I'm allowing the source of all that is to speak through me, how it comes out is going to necessarily be colored by my speech patterns and my accent and my life experiences and metaphors that I think are appropriate. It's going to be different. The exact same energy comes through a lot of different people. It only sounds different because it's coming through with the coloring of the person that it's coming through. Oh, I was saying that Gary, what's his name, Douglas, one of the founders of Access Consciousness, in his writings, it's so stark and clear when he is channeling information, like really pure, helpful information, and then when he slips back into his human mind, which is misogynistic and pretty negative, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. But you can see it. That doesn't mean that he's not bringing forth good information, because he is. And fortunately, the difference between what he's bringing in and his regular human self is so different, it's really easy to tell the difference. So when you're looking at the Access Consciousness stuff, you just kind of filter out when he slips into his own head. God's greatness is a gift. God's greatness is a gift that's offered to all of us, but it's our choice whether or not to receive it. We lack faith in what exists within us because we lack faith in who exists within us. We like to think of all that is as separate, as something out there. We feel uncomfortable when we think of, well, we're that. And sometimes it makes people feel like they're being arrogant. You're not being arrogant. You're acknowledging the fact, the truth. You can't say in one breath that God is in every particle of the universe and then say, but not me. But not in here. Like, that would make me a big shot, and I'm not trying to show off or whatever. God's out there, and I'm right here, and I'm seeking God, and I gotta go find God. But God's in everything in the universe. God created everything, and everything is God, and God is everything, but not me. You can't. It doesn't work. That's completely illogical. But when you try to own it, it bumps up against that sense of self-worth that we often struggle with. We don't feel worthy. Afraid of sounding preachy. We don't want to sound like televangelists. We don't want to sound like freaks. Yeah. We don't want to sound or look like Tammy Faye Baker. We don't feel like we deserve that level of glory, so we block it. We don't feel like we could possibly express something so wonderful. Yeah, so wonderful, so beautiful, so helpful to other people. We just don't think it's possible if we don't feel like we're worth a damn. Each of us has a unique part to play in the healing of the world. Each of us is assigned a function that only we can fill. At the level of our divine function, none of us are in competition with each other, for the universe has an infinite number of pieces of pie. I hope Catherine watches the replay. We've been using the pie metaphor, like fighting over pieces of pie. But the universe has an infinite number of pieces of pie. My piece doesn't take away from yours, and yours doesn't take away from mine. There is space for everyone's gifts to flower. There is more than enough room for all of us. Yeah, I've been your banana pie. The universe is bringing you your banana in a cream pie. I'm going to start getting hungry. When futurist and universally acknowledged genius Buckminster Fuller was asked his definition of a genius, his response was, so Buckminster Fuller was asked, what's a genius? He said, someone who had the right mother. I assume he meant someone who had the most positive childhood programming, someone who was told when young that he or she was brilliant and would succeed. If told as children that we're bound to succeed, then we tend to. If told as children that we're bound to fail, then we tend to do that instead. But even if your mother or father didn't tell you you were wonderful, your divine father or mother tells you that now. Spiritual understanding is a corrective to any false programming you may have received as a child. Praying for awareness of whatever dysfunctional programming you're running in your head is helpful. You get it brought to your attention so that you can work through it and recognize that it's old and you don't need it anymore. You never needed it, but you're consciously choosing to let it go now. So rather than endlessly analyzing a tape from childhood, you erase it by recording a new one. A story, no matter how factually true, is still just a story. People get hung up on when they're doing the work with Byron Katie. They get hung up on when they're really harshly judging someone who's hurt them, but it's true. It is true. It absolutely is true. And you're completely justified in feeling angry or upset or sad or murderous or whatever it is you feel. And you're completely justified. It's just not effective. It's just not serving you. It's not healing you. It's not moving you forward in your life. So letting go of that story, no matter how factually true it is, releases all your energy back to taking you where you need to go. Yes, and now what? Yes, it happened. Yes, it was horrible. Face all the negativity of it and then ask, now what? What wants to be born here? Where do I want to go now? What would love have me do now? Where would I like to be moved now? You do have to work through that story first. And then let it go. Spiritual growth involves giving up the stories of your past so the universe can write a new one. You're not denying your childhood, you're simply transcending. You're a child of God carrying the eternal mark of your perfect source. Yay! You are naturally entitled to miracles because love is what you are. Oh, here she talks about the arrogance. This is not an arrogant appraisal of the ego. Oh, I really like this. But a humble acceptance of God's truth. This is not an arrogant appraisal of the ego, as in, I'm God, I'm all powerful. But rather a humble acceptance of God's truth. You just happen to have within you the eternal power of the universe, because that's how it is. It's just a fact. It's not something to be used as a weapon against your brothers and sisters. It's just how it is. Because you are a child of love, made of love, only love has power over you. Your mortal self can be damaged, your spiritual self cannot. That's how people survived concentration camps and POW camps, because they recognized that their captors couldn't touch their soul. They stayed in contact with it through all the pain and the starvation and deprivation that they went through. They didn't lose sight permanently. I'm sure there were moments, but they didn't permanently lose sight that I've got something that you can't have, and that's my heart and soul. You can't touch it. Go ahead with whatever you're going to do. Even if you kill me, you cannot touch that part. It's mine. You do not have to identify with the brokenness of the world, for the effects of brokenness are temporary. Every loving thing that ever happened to you was real, and everything else was an illusion. Yeah, no doubt. Such illusions have no effect on your future unless you carry them with you into the present. It's entirely up to each of us whether we consider ourselves damaged goods. Things might have gone roughly in the past, but the past is over and cannot touch you. Excuse me. Right now, in this moment, the universe is responding not to your past, but the truth of who you are, always were, and always will be. And I'll stop there. We're on page 38, if anyone's following along in this Law of Divine Compensation book. And what that has to do with money is typically people are not allowing in money because they have trouble receiving. They have trouble with self-worth issues. They have gone through real or imagined deprivation, and they're stuck in it. Stuck thinking there's not enough pie to go around. You can get stuck and sidetracked into jealousy or competition with others for your piece of the pie. So everything that she's talking about there relates back to money, because money is just a symbol for receiving all of it, love, whatever. all the good that comes to us. Poverty mentality, yeah. So dismantling the stories about worthiness and stories about things that happened to you, or things that should have happened and didn't happen to you or for you. Letting go of those stories, yes, opens you to the giving and receiving cycle of going in and out. Yesterday I heard graceful. I would like to gracefully and gratefully receive. I always gratefully receive, but I wouldn't say that I always gracefully receive. Sometimes I still stumble over it. Sometimes it still feels really uncomfortable. The money malas that Sarah makes are meant to help overcome that tendency. You don't have to have a mala to do that, but focusing on receiving more energy and more love necessarily means you'll receive more money, because it's just all the same thing. It's all energy. It just takes different forms, that's all. Dismantling your stories about money in general is really helpful. That's what this book is designed to do, is just really take your story apart and recognize that you're choosing fear in relation to money. You're choosing, when it comes to money, we're more often choosing fearful thoughts and thoughts of lack, thoughts of running out, thoughts of not enough, than we do sometimes in other areas of our life. We are less likely to choose a loving thought about money. So that's why some people are pretty good at receiving in some areas, but when it comes to money, they kind of shut it down. So if they're pretty good at receiving other things, imagine how much better that's going to be when they're able to pick apart and start receiving financial abundance as well, because that's a birthright too. But we have a lot of tangled up stories about it, about how we allow it to come in, about how we use it once it's here. We have stories about, I shouldn't spend it now that it's here. I should hoard it and hide it. I should be stingy with it because I didn't have it before, and if I spend it, it's all going to go away again. Not understanding this cycle was the same as breathing air in, breathing air out. Money comes in, it's meant to go back out, within reason. That's the ideal, I guess. Don't go spending a ton of money if you haven't gotten comfortable with letting it come back in yet. Yeah, the eternal flow, in and out, in and out, in and out. Breathing in and out. Heart's pumping blood in and out. Our bodies do it. Trees do it. Trees are on an in and out. The sun is up and down. There's always the flip side. The Tao symbol of light and dark. There's always the opposite side. So being comfortable with both can be really key. Being comfortable with your down times and acknowledging them and being with them and giving them permission to exist. Has anybody seen the movie Inside Out? It's a kid's movie. It's Pixar. I think it's a Pixar movie. It's wonderful. If you haven't seen it, go see it. You don't need a kid. It's an amazing story, and allow me to not fear loss and cling to gain. Inside Out is the movie. It's the storyline is all about emotions on the inside of this little girl, and how they work and what happens to your emotions and how important it is to have access to all of them. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. Highly recommend it. So, I'm going to wrap this up. It's really pretty here today. I'm going to make our scaredy cat. Yeah, sadness just wants to be held. It wants to be held. Yeah, it's great. So I'm going to get our scaredy cat out into the sunlight, which involves locking up these guys behind me and putting her outside so she can get some sunlight and fresh air. She's getting better, but she's still scared of pretty much everything. So, have a wonderful day, and I'll be back tomorrow, more closer to the 9:30 time frame for the Tao Te Ching and the Byron Katie book. She does. As soon as I get her out there, she's fine. Yeah, I might sit out there with her and get some sun and fresh air for myself. we have chairs out there, so we can do that. Yeah, happy Sunday. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you're heading to work tomorrow, may you have a wonderful morning. Okay. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Thank you for the comments and the hearts and shares, and I appreciate it all so, so much. Talk to you soon.